Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays, everyone. My name is College Sports Survived, and I welcome you back to the College Hoops 2K Legacy Mode series for a Christmas special. So go grab your hot cocoa, go grab your blankets, go bundle up. We've got a good one on tap today, guys. Episode number 30. And I wish you guys a very happy and a healthy holiday season. Hope you guys are safe if you decide to travel. And I really appreciate you guys spending some of your Christmas and holiday season with me here on the channel, tapping back in with Fordham Rams and Coach Carter. Fordham is perhaps looking for a bit of a Christmas miracle here in episode 30 as the holiday season is around us. Last time we met up with the Rams, there were some major storylines becoming apparent, and we might need a little bit of luck for some of these to fall our way. First off, as you can see to the right of your screen, Fordham has become a dark horse for a first round bye in the A10 conference tournament, entering today a game and a half back from the Dayton Flyers, who have a hold on the fourth and final bye spot. The second storyline might be even crazier. The Fordham Rams actually received some national attention last installment. We checked the bubble watch for the NCAA tournament prior to the St. Louis game last episode and saw the March Madness committee showing your Fordham Rams some love by putting us on the bubble team list. Unfortunately, after our nightmare second half against the Billikens, we saw the Rams drop from the bubble list, but at the end of the day, the Rams have the committee on notice. 4 games remain on the Season 3 slate, so the Rams still have some time to leave an impression on the selection team and have some time to make a push for a first round bye. And even better news for Fordham, our 2 opponents today currently have the final 2 byes in the conference. We're going to meet the Dayton Flyers for the first time this season later on in the episode, but we'll be trying to get revenge to open it up today. Let's flash back to the conference opener, episode number 27, 3 games into the A10 slate. We faced the George Washington Colonials, and we saw a game that went down to the wire. And as you might expect, Murphy was exceptional, pouring in 23 points and grabbing 5 boards. We decided to keep the ball in Preston's hands with the game on the line, but the Colonials defense sent a double team at just the right moment, forcing Higgins into a bad shot. George Washington hasn't looked back since this big win, becoming a conference contender out of nowhere here in Season 3. Their defense has won them many games this year. I'm sure you guys remember Steph Baptiste, who's one of the top shot blockers in the entire country. Starting center Terea Snell also scored 12 on us in the last meeting, and 2-guard Overa Smith might be the scariest player on this George Washington offense. His numbers may not jump out, but the 6'4 junior is a microwave who can start cooking at any moment. So we're going to begin episode 30 here in the nation's capital, as Fordham will try to cool down arguably the hottest team in the A10 today. The Colonials could make it 9 wins out of their last 11 with a victory over our Rams today. We're going to try to put a stop to that as we begin the day on defense. As we play a 3-2 zone, we've seen a lot more of this recently out of Coach Carter's guys. They mixed it up a little bit, haven't gone man the entirety of the season. As the year's gone on, they've been mixing it up with a 3-2 zone, and that's what they're going to be starting out in today. But they've relinquished 5 straight points in the first minute of the contest, and now this one's dished off to Darian Mincy for 3 as Overa Smith leads the break. 8 unanswered points for the Colonials to begin the afternoon, and clearly the zone isn't working. Meanwhile, this talented Colonials defense is shutting down anything Fordham finds on the break. But how about a nice steal by Pincala? Let's see if we can finally score. Hendry, dribble drive. Murphy from 12 feet. Again, the superstar shooting guard misses. He's been so hot recently. Murphy's last 4 games, points-wise, has been 18, 23, 18, and 26. So over his last 4 games, it's 21.2 points per game as he finally knocks down a triple to get Fordham and himself on the board, and then he finds the deflection here on the press. Then he whips in a pass inside to Fabian Swanson. Just another example of the explosiveness that Preston Murphy brings every single night. 15.5 points per game now in the season. That's actually 4th in the conference. So Preston Murphy, the senior, bringing his A game here in the second half of his final collegiate season. Michael Murray, the point guard, off the mark for the Colonials as Fordham draws within 6. It's Fabian Swanson. Beautiful dish inside as we see Evangelo Higgins cutting back door on the break. He fills the lane perfectly. And whenever Coach Carter's boys really buy into the system, that's when you see plays like this happen. This is Fabian Swanson, our really talented rebounder and post scorer, making a delicious dime. Whenever everybody buys into the system, that's when Coach Carter's teams really start to take off. And here in Season 3, you're seeing that firsthand as the double comes. Great deflection there by Dustin Black as some reserves check in. He attacks two guys, but closing down in the middle is Terea Snell and O'Vara Smith, as Dustin Black will actually go toe-to-toe here with Smith. He gets the deflection, but Smith will then drive right past him seconds later. And then he now has 12 on the game. So O'Vara Smith almost single-handedly torching us. I talked about pre-game how Smith can be a microwave, and he's been one of the main reasons why the Colonials have now built a double-digit lead here in the first half. Higgins also now has 2 fouls. He'll have to come out, so another starter off the floor for us. As this continues to be far from our best performance, breaking the press though is Dustin Black as he hands it off to Corey Terrell. Perhaps a little bit of fireworks above the rim will help us finally get things going, but we'll see. 30-19 Colonials now lead, and on the very next possession trying to finally get a stop. This has been far from our best defensive performance here in Season 3, and that will continue as the backup 2-guard BJ Bradshaw now beats everybody off the dribble. Dustin Black again tries to find Corey Terrell, and check out this post move. Beautiful footwork inside. Corey Terrell goes from fireworks and powerful on the last possession. This time he switches it up and goes with a little bit of finesse. So now Fordham gets it back to under 10. Good closeout from Murphy, but now this is Baron Wheeler with a foot on the line, and then Murphy gives it away on the inbounds pass. 1 step forward, 2 steps back for Fordham here in the first half, and you're seeing the frustration on the body language written all over these Fordham players, man. They look like they don't even want to be out there. 43-31 is your first half total, and I'm just trying to figure out what the problem was. We got off to that horrible start defensively with that 3-2 zone. We were down 10-0 to begin the game. But even in man-to-man, these Colonials are still having one of their best offensive days of the season. On the bright side though, we have hung with them since that 0-10 start. It's been a 33-31 game ever since that terrible beginning to the ball game. But it starts with trying to stop this kid, O'Vara Smith, this microwave. He's got to find a way to cool down, and Coach Carter thinks he might have a way to attack him. We're going to see if the length of Evangelo Higgins will bother him. Higgins has become probably our best defender here in Season 3 on his senior campaign. He has 3 inches on Smith, so we'll see if this is what it takes, as Coach Carter puts a lot of trust into his small forward. As Higgins to begin the second half will then give it away though, so offensively not a good start for number 3, as Michael Murray tops off the break. He's been almost just as good as O'Vara Smith. He's becoming the team's leading scorer now with 13 points. Murphy goes quick, dishes it off to Bennett Pincalo. Great job setting up a teammate inside. Preston Murphy, no matter what team we face, he always seems to ball out. It's now a 14-point Colonial advantage though. 9 minutes left to play. Bradshaw off the screen. This one's deflected though by former walk-on Rondell Dunnington, trying to make a spot in the rotation for himself, but Dustin Black rushes it up on the fast break. Should have found a teammate there. So the miscues on offense continue as we just try to get a stop here. Wide open is Gene Stivers for 3. One of the deeper bench guys for the Colonials, but this guy, he torched us last time he played him. He had 10 points off the bench, and that 3 brings it to a 20-point game with 2 minutes to go. As we see here, Darian Mincy double clutch, no good. As we just try to save face a little bit here on the scoreboard. This will be our second straight blowout loss, but Preston Murphy with now 19 points. Like I said, this is one of the best defenses in the conference, but it doesn't matter who we play. Murphy's always bringing his A game, and he's never off. So Dustin Black will make a pretty crazy 3 here to bring the lead to 21 as time expires, but this was far from an optimal performance when you're trying to get into that top 4 with the playoffs looming closer. So once again, this was one of those games where Preston Murphy obviously brought his A game, but outside of him, we had trouble generating much offense. We had some decent performances, such as 9 points from Dustin Black. Corey Terrell played really well, I thought, as well. Fabian Swanson, 3 for 8. Kaya Hendry really struggled after having 2 back-to-back good episodes. And then on defense, I don't even want to look at these totals. We started to be a little bit more competitive after that awful start, but in the second half, the wheels started to come off again, allowing 89 points to this offense. O'Vara Smith was 16. He only had 3 points in the second half. Good job for Higgins, but all in all, we had a backup center get 11 and 10 on us in 13 minutes. Terea Snell torched us inside, and just not the best day for us. So now with 3 games left to go on our Season 3 slate, the margin for error becomes even slimmer if we want to contest for that first round bye. George Washington is now 9-4 in league play, so our last chance depends on this Dayton game. On top of that, we're going to have to hope for a St. Louis loss. So we're going to need a big win over the Flyers at home, and we're going to need some help from around the league to have an outside shot. It's highly unlikely to pull this off, but it's just been a lot of fun to play for it, man. I mean, this Dayton game means so much more with them at 8-5 and tied with St. Louis for the last first round bye spot. So we're gonna see what happens today as we head back home with 3 games left to go on the season. The Flyers have been just as sharp as George Washington as of recent, another red hot team who's won 6 of 7 entering today. You gotta admit though, it's been a super soft schedule as of recent. They beat Duquesne and GWU, but outside of that, every other win came against a team with a losing conference record. Archie Stafford is their top performer on the season. The Indianapolis native uses his long wingspan to gobble up rebounds, and he currently leads the league with 8 a game. Stafford worries me because it's no secret that Fordham's team rebounding has looked pretty suspect over the recent weeks. That's one thing that started to taper off as we got into conference play. It's not been as dominant as it was out of conference. So we'll see if our leading rebounder, Fabian Swanson, can keep Stafford off the glass. There's plenty to like outside as well for the Flyers. Demetrius Myers, Rylan Wilson, and Tony Blythe are all very serviceable two-way guards who can play a little bit of defense and shoot as well. And thus, our Christmas Day special comes to an end back at home in front of our adoring fans. A big game against Dayton is about to get underway. Here we go. Still trying to make a final push for that 4th and final first round bye here in the A-10 conference tournament. Dayton Flyers on defense showing off that 2-3 zone to begin the game, so immediately we're attacking the heart of it. There goes Bennett Pincala for a bucket, much needed as well. He's coming off that ankle sprain that he had last episode and was a little bit rusty against George Washington, but this is a game I could see him doing really well in. But here's his matchup. That's J. Ron Crockett. He is a JUCO transfer from Mount Prospect, Illinois, a 6'10 sophomore, and he's one of the many Dayton Flyers who can stretch defenses with his jump shot as the center. He has a bucket there. Now 8-8. Kai Hendry's been red hot from 3, and that continues there. Great screen there by Preston Murphy. And I think it's pretty cool how in this episode we're facing the 2 other oddballs from the A-10 conference this year. I think Fordham's been above expectations. George Washington and Dayton, though, they've both also come out of nowhere to put together very good seasons, both with 8 wins in the conference at least. George Washington just picked up their 9th on us, so we're seeing some of the up-and-coming rising teams in the A-10 today. As look at Evangelo Higgins, nice crossover on the point guard Tony Blythe. That's where Higgins is at his best, taking advantage of smaller defenders with his length and his slippery ability to get to the rim. So Fordham back out on top, 15-14 game as Dustin Black sets up Higgins for the triple. 7 quick points for Evo. And take a look at this deceptive little pass there. Dustin Black saw Higgins' man shading, so he threw it to the outside hand. Higgins takes it, and a very confident looking 3-pointer right there. 18-14 game on the very next possession. Let's see if we can open up a little bit here against the Flyers. Tony Blythe setting things up for his teammates, but Higgins caught napping a little bit there. Looked like he was going to try to help double down low. I guess that's where he thought the pass was going, but it's all good. He wants the elbow isolation, gets right past Blevins on the other side of the floor, and Higgins has 9 points on the game so far. Timeout Flyers, and Higgins off to a really quick start. We've talked about how awesome Preston Murphy has been as he gets beat back door there. What a pass there by Tony Blythe setting up his man. But yeah, Murphy's been one of the hottest players in the entire conference. Don't forget about Evangelo Higgins, though. He's had some pretty awesome performances in his last 4 games as well, as there's a rare miss from 3 by Kai Hendry. Out on the break, though, Flyers on the move, and he's fouled. This is Rylan Wilson who absorbs the body bump from Kaya Hendry. And Dayton stayed in this game with their work from the free throw line. It's another trip to the stripe for the Flyers. And they are in the penalty, or they have us in the penalty from here on out here in the first half. 26-25, offense is starting to cool off a little bit. 12 seconds to go. Fordham doesn't want the 2-for-1, they want the good ones. They're taking their time here at the end of the half. Murphy puts his shoulder into the smaller defender, Rylan Wilson, and the post move score is dropped in. Murphy now with 7 points. And even though 28 points as a team won't wow anybody here in the first half, Fordham has put together a pretty solid offensive showing. That Murphy bucket now puts us at 50% shooting as a team. And we'll have a 3-point lead barring anything crazy here on the last possession. Beautiful dish inside. Mitchell Frey, the backup 2 guard. That was an awesome pass, but Kaya Hendrys looked awesome at the end of halves and at the end of shot clocks. The step back 3 goes for number 44, and we head into the locker room up by 4. Kaya Hendry does it again at the end of a shot clock. He's been becoming one of the most clutch players around the conference recently. And Fordham takes into the half a 4-point advantage. So far you gotta like what you see in a lot of different ways, including keeping Archie Stafford off of the glass. We've barely heard anything from the Dayton Flyers' top performer on the season, and the league's top reading rebounder has barely made an impact on this game whatsoever. So gotta like what you're seeing here as Murphy gets started quickly, but there we go. Archie Stafford, just whenever I'm talking a little bit of trash on him, he shuts me up, and they get a quick break and run out opportunity. That's Rylan Wilson for his 7th and 8th point there. 33-32, Fordham still clinging on to the lead, trying to set up Preston Murphy on this possession. Popping out is Bennett Pinkala, high post, and then Kaya Hendry wants the 3, and he gets it to fall. It's really good to see Kaya Hendry back on track. He set his career high in turnovers in that tough loss to St. Louis last episode was 6. So it's really good to see him back to his roots as Dayton wants to cut into this lead. It's Tony Blythe, the point guard, with one of the craziest and ones you will ever see. The ball reversal, Hendry gets off his feet, Dustin Black bumps him, and Corey Terrell hacks him at the rim. He just throws it up with his offhand, and he gets it up and over the front rim. Very impressive there by Tony Blythe, the 6'2 freshman. So now Blythe and his counterparts, they can take the lead here with a bucket. Dayton has kept and clawed away in this game. Blythe off a screen, he's open, it's short, but this is Alexis Chapman on the glass, a 6'10", 274-pound big man who just out-muscles Pinkala at the rim that time. Hendry tries another 3, but getting a little too trigger-happy here as J-Ron Crockett collects his 9th rebound of the contest. But Dustin Black, check out the hustle! And it's gonna be Fordham basketball. Good to see somebody's trying to break the rut. He deflected Nivens' pass, and then him trying to dive for the loose ball made Nivens think too much, and he tried to save it, but he couldn't. So Dustin Black's hustle made Nivens try to save it, and obviously, as you can see, it didn't work out so well. So Black picking up a couple scrapes there on the court, and he's just trying to do what he can to keep us in the lead in this big late season affair between us and the Dayton Flyers. And he has definitely earned some run here at the end of the game just for that hustle. He's still out on the floor as he joins the starting 5. Murphy off a screen! Yes, sir! Murphy's been in single digits all game long until then as Dustin Black takes it away. Double clutch inside. 5 quick points for the Fordham Rams to hopefully turn the tides. Things were getting a little tough to watch here for the Fordham offense for a little bit, but Dustin Black has provided a spark. We've been calling him Big Shot Black here in his sophomore year. His numbers don't jump out at you, but he just comes off the bench and delivers in short spurts. That's what number 10 is all about. The sophomore from Scranton, PA, still stays on the floor. Evangelo Higgins wants to post up to Swanson, and he'll put his shoulder into his defender, draw 2 defenders. Murphy is open on the kick out, no good, but what a rebound pulled down by Fabian. No good on the second effort, tries to stay with it. It's off again, but Fabian grabs another one, and he finally puts it in. Fordham Rams faithful up on their feet. This is how you get a crowd on your side. Working your tail off just like that. A lot of respect to Fabian Swanson, one of 5 seniors that is going to be leaving us at the end of the year. Now he tries to stay in front of Archie Stafford. No good, no avail though, I should say. As Stafford finally puts in his first bucket. his first make in 4 attempts on the game. So Swanson has been completely neutralizing him on the contest. 3:30 left to go, 49-47. Swanson, good screen there, as he's got it at the elbow now. Him versus Stafford. He'll go with his offhand. He got it. Nothing but nets. Fabian Swanson, smooth as silk in the post. He's got double-digit points on the game as he starts to come alive here in the second half. Kicking it around. It's Dustin Black who takes it away. He'll cradle it in the basket with 2 hands. How about Dustin Black, man? This is a coach's dream type player right here. Dustin's just one of those guys who just shows up every day. Doesn't matter the role he's in. Off the bench, starting 5. He's going to bring his A game. And he's doing exactly that here in his sophomore year. But Preston Murphy, bad turnover there as it's taken away by Blythe. As Dayton runs the break. And they get 2 chances to cut into this lead at the free throw stripe. Preston Murphy with a rare mistake there in crunch time. So the Dayton Flyers, right when it looked like we had stronghold on this game, they're right back in it. As Rylan Wilson actually missed the first free throw as Dustin Black checks out. And he is met with a standing ovation from this Rose Hill gym. And it was well warranted as well. So we come up short on our next possession as Kai Hendry retakes the floor. J-Ron Crockett flying through the air. As Bennett Pincala caught hedging too far out. And he leaves Fabian Swanson to dry underneath the rim. What a punch down by the JUCO transfer. And now Dayton has all of a sudden come within 1. It looked like Fordham had this game in the back for a split second, but the Flyers aren't going anywhere. 1:14 left to go. This game's just as big as the Flyers it is for us. But with Fordham coming off 2 back-to-back blow-off losses, this is a win they desperately need. Swanson potentially looking backdoor. He finds Murphy. Quick pass. Higgins with room. Count it! 3-pointer for number 3, Higgins, with 14 on the game. That might have just sealed it. Higgins, one of 5 seniors trying to make his last year the best year of his Fordham career. And that is exactly what he does with that 3-point shot. Timeout Flyers, 1 more stop, and we should be able to take this game. Preston Murphy, he's caught in no man's land. And so is Evangelo Higgins. As Higgins does the one thing you can't do in this situation. You cannot foul like that. You give up an easy 3-point play. This is what happens as J-Ron Crockett continues a huge game tonight as he nears in on a double-double, but Higgins grabs his 7th board as the Flyers continue to struggle from the charity stripe here in the clutch as Higgins goes before the defense sets up. I don't think anybody in the gym was expecting him to take off like that. Immediately making up for his defensive blunder, Crockett is off the mark, and guess who rips down the game-winning rebound? It's Evangelo Higgins. The hometown kid might have just sealed it, but we're going to need some free throws of our own. Preston Murphy heading to the free throw line, as he's been one of the most effective free throw shooters every year he's been on campus. 25 seconds left, 2 free throws to make it a 6-point lead as he knocks down the front end of the 1-and-1. Murphy needs 1 more to cap off this game. Him and Higgins doing a great job sealing this win. That's exactly what happens. 25 seconds left, 6-point game, just too much for Dayton there at the end of the game. Should have been a little bit more easier, sure, but at the end of the day, we get things done on our home court to stay in the hunt for a top 4 seed and snap our 2-game losing streak. Preston Murphy was 17, but I thought the game ball should have went to my boy Evo Higgins. 16, 8 rebounds, 3 assists. Unbelievable performance on all aspects from my boy. And check out down low, Swanson and Pincala doing their best, keeping these talented Dayton bigs in check. Swanson had 10 points, most of those coming in the second half along with 2 blocks, and Bennett Pincala grabs a career-high 10 boards to match J-Ron Crockett's total. How about Archie Stafford, only 5 points and 4 rebounds? It was actually the point guard Tony Blythe who had one of the better games of his freshman year. He's going to be a good player for a couple years in this conference. So this win puts Fordham at 17 wins on the year. That's their 7th in league play as well, as the best season for Coach Carter's Fordham tenure. just gets better and better as time goes along. One more conference win and that's going to match the total from seasons 1 and 2 combined. But as we reach the end of February and a recruiting event takes place, the ability to interact with recruits has come to an end, so no more commitments and conversing with high school prospects until the off season. And thus, I thought it was a perfect time to check in with our prospects and see where these races are at heading into the twilight of season 3. The top rebounder in all of high school, Lloyd Hicks, he's narrowed down his list to 2 schools, Fordham and Alcorn State, as we outpace the Alcorn State Braves for the Paint Patroller. It's always risky going after kids who are so far away from your campus since recruiting actions cost so many more points, but with Hicks's production, we had to take the risk and it looks like it's going to pay off. There's been a lot of noise surrounding our boy Timo Cruz this season. Feels like every time I peek at his player card, the team in first place switches back and forth between Fordham and North Carolina. I'm not sure why the bar for UNC is no longer completely filled. My guess is the Tar Heels might have revoked his scholarship to use on somebody else and then maybe reworked their offers to make room for Timo, so they re-offered and that's why their bar went down a little bit. I'm not really sure, but either way, I'm not complaining. I would love to have the sharpshooter pair up with the coach's son, Damian Carter, next year and a Richmond High School reunion. We found Isaac Moore pretty late in the year, a two-way wing who reminds me a little bit of Evangelo Higgins. He won Mr. Basketball for the state of Massachusetts, so he's got the hardware to back up his caliber, but it's unlikely we score him with Boston College and UNC closing in on 100% locked. He's just a backup plan anyway. I found one more talented player we might have a chance at chipping away at, 5-star 2-guard Maury McKinney. A high school All-American, McKinney is shockingly flying under the radar a little bit. The Cleveland native is favored to go to West Virginia, but head coach Bob Huggins, he still has some more work to do if he wants to make him a Mountaineer. If McKinney doesn't immediately transfer come the offseason and waits a few weeks to make a decision, this could be a sneaky race to get competitive in. McKinney's one of those scary players who combines physical gifts like his A- speed with his cerebral abilities, like his B+ steal and his basketball IQ that's off the charts. 10 points per game on his senior year, join his 7 rebounds and 3 steals. This is one of the most unique prospects you'll meet around the nation. 7 boards at 5'11", that's incredible, and it would be an accomplishment to even compete with WVU for his services. But with his defense and instincts, I can see why Bob Huggins loves McKinney's game. He reminds me a lot of Javon Carter, a former West Virginia point guard who won 2 Big 12 Defensive Player of the Year awards in his career, and he didn't graduate too long ago. I think he plays for the Milwaukee Bucks now. I could see why Huggins likes him. This is one of those blue-collar guards that Huggins loves to have on his roster. That's pretty much it, everybody. I appreciate you guys stopping by today and spending some of your holiday season with me here on the channel. Things are getting very interesting here with Fordham and Coach Carter. 2 more games to go left on the schedule, and we sit at 7-7 in conference play. It's a long shot to get one of those top 4 seeds, but honestly, if we can just continue to build on our seeding and get a softball in the first round to perhaps make some noise in this conference tournament, that would be pretty special on its own right. Preston Murphy's been on fire, Higgins is pulling up in the clutch, and Fabian Swanson is also bringing his A game at the end of games as well. So, and who can forget about Dustin Black putting the team on his back in some of these big games. Honestly, I love where the team's at right now. I think we're trending upwards as the postseason tournament rolls around. This is College Sports Revive, and I'm signing out. Playoffs are right around the corner. We got one more regular season game to go, guys. I can't wait, and I hope to see you guys there. Have an awesome Christmas, and I'll see you guys next time on the channel. Have a great night, and I'll see you guys later. Stay tuned, everybody.